Hi, my name is Ricardo. I'm a customer success manager slash front-end developer for an A/B testing tool, and I have been working in the field for 2.5 years. And in that time, I have seen that there's definitely a gap, which can be filled with coding skills as well as CRO for people that are running CRO programs. Therefore, I'm creating this series of videos which basically will focus not from CRO, A/B testing, and of course coding. I don't know if you have already seen. If not, my previous video was about the fundamentals of HTML, where I will basically talk about all the main elements that we use to build a proper HTML structure. If not, please feel free to check it out because that's definitely gonna help you understanding the lesson of today, which I will be focusing on CSS. CSS basically is what we use to style our content, our HTML in a page. And yeah, so please, if you would like, feel free to follow the video, to like it, and to share. And well, let's get to it. Uh, I will be using today, differently from my previous video, I will be using today a visual editor, which is VS Code. And here you can see that I'm splitting my screen into two, the part where I will code and the part where we can see the changes we are making. You will see that I have already created pretty much the entire structure of the HTML basically for today, and I will be explaining a little bit so that we don't get completely lost in what we are talking about, what we are building. So let's get to the explanation basically. Well, here on top you will see that I am referring to this advanced .css, which is basically where I am applying all my CSS changes. As you can see over here, I have everything commented out, so no style is applying, and you will see that if I scroll down here, everything is looking still very raw, very ugly, let's put it like that. But you will see that as soon as we start applying the CSS, we will start changing that. But let's understand what we have there. Well, as you can see right on top here, we have our nav bar, which is basically we are encapsulating the element within a nav tag. Then we have spam here, which I'm using for the logo. And then we have here an unordered list with 4 items and basically 4 LIs and 1 button, which I will use like to ask quote. Then I still have to add here, so let's add like the text from those. Let's see, t-shirts, let's put it like that. Let's put like what else? Shoes and pet. Let's put a pet there. Well, so you see that we now have like or perhaps for better English, let's put a cap. And then you will see that we have basically here our structure of our, well, very ugly looking, but the structure of a nav bar, for example. Down here we have, we will have like the product details page, so it's the PDP page in this case. And within the PDP page, you will see that we have one main container, which we encapsulated the whole content there. And within that, we will have basically 2 containers. One where we will encapsulate like the image, and we will have one that will encapsulate the product description and features. So for that, we have the title, we will have here the price, we will have the rating of the product, we will have here a color switch, we will have here product size selector, we will have a button, which is the button for add to cart. We will have as well some section below the whole thing, which is called like product USPs. You will see that's quite common to have in websites. And within that, I'm also using like a UL for that with some LIs, where inside the LIs I have like an SVG, which is some type of image as well. And then we have here just some text. I could have put this with inside the spam as well, but yeah, it's not really necessary in this case. And then down here we will have, I also created this section, which is basically just a blank space at the bottom, which I'll use like to show some animation of making the right side of the screen stick until we get to the end of that container, but we will see that later on. So basically here is the structure that we have. On top of here we have like some things commented out, and those are some fonts that I'm getting from Google. So you will see that after we save that, our fonts, well, still won't change. However, if I move up here and I uncomment the body, you will see that it will change already a little bit. We see that the fonts changed. We see some spacings here disappeared, and that's because I am applying some margin. Margin basically is, if I inspect this element and move back here, let's say I go here, you will see that if I scroll down here all the way, I can see exactly the spacing that each of those elements are taking. So for example, if I inspect here this element, I see that there's no margin, no border, no padding, and basically the size is just the real size of the element. However, if I now come here to this H1, you will see that the H1 automatically already has like some margin, which is equal like top and bottom, and the size of the element is 150 pixels width and 114 height in this case. Yeah, but now we can't see it completely, and that's why we can even scroll here to the side as well. Yeah, so basically you will see, perhaps I should even move it a little bit more, because you perhaps will be able to see it a little bit better. Yeah, so basically that's how we can see this element. All right, so again, I'm removing like all the padding. In this case, I can put just a 0. I can put the px for pixels here. I am using the font type robots, and here I put the standard as the sans serif, which is pretty much standard. Like in case one font doesn't work, it will automatically move to this font that every browser in this case supposedly will support. So if the robot for some reason doesn't work, the sans serif will be the font chosen for this example. And then over here we have the font weight, which is the thickness of the font, and you will see that if I comment it out and save, you will see already automatically some small difference to the elements. Let's bring it back, and like that it goes basically. And if I go over here, well, we can see that the elements are there. We are seeing some colors here, and that's because we have multiple ways that we can apply CSS. One way, which is the common way used, is like having a separate file which will apply all the changes, the styling changes that we have for that element. Another way would be, let's say we could come here to the head part of the file and create like a style. Let's say here, and then let's say I want to say the body color. So in order to, we can target, perhaps it's also good to mention that we can target multiple elements and in different ways. For example, we in this case I'm targeting the body. The body is this element, and I can target tags, which is what I'm going to show now. So if I can go here, let's move it to background, and then let's just make it ugly red. So you see that now my entire content is red. So that is one way. However, you can imagine that if I would add the amount of styling that I have over here to the to that file over here, to my HTML file, it will become quite convoluted, like pretty quick. Therefore, we always advise not doing that. The same way that we could do it in this way, we can also just come to the element itself and apply what we call inline styling, which we identify oftentimes by having the style and then the equal sign and and the quotation marks, opening and closing again. And I could here again like just do background, In this case, I'm doing a shortcut background, which in this case, I want to do a background color, which is, let's say, yellow. So now you see that my entire content or my entire body is yellow. Those other elements, they didn't change because their background, basically, they are set already within them. So this is commonly not used. Of course, with A/B testing, you will see that happening quite often because sometimes what we build what we call like MVPs, or we will build like some less optimal versions of the website because we are creating something temporary, and therefore we don't need to focus on the perfection. Of course, we want to make it look as good as possible, but it doesn't need to look clean in the sense of the code in that case. Of course, we don't want to compromise the performance of the website, but we can use like some practices which, if we were building really the website final code, we wouldn't probably build it in the same way. And then what you will see is that the elements now, instead of seeing only the HTML tags, we are seeing also classes, because those are some other type of elements or selectors that we can use to select an element as well. Because you can imagine that if I wanted to target only the tag here, it would be very complicated, because I have now allies here for my title. I have allies here for the color switch. I have allies here for the size selector, and I have allies here as well for my USPs. Therefore, if I can create some specific selector, which in this case is a class, then I know in that way that I basically will be specifying or applying a specific style to a specific element in that case. If we go over on top here, we will see that the allies for the colors, I on purpose have put like set like inline styles for the colors, so that I wouldn't have to create one style for each of them, but just do it inline, so that's much simpler. And you will see as well that I have now one data attribute which I added here on purpose. It doesn't really have a specific need for that, but I added because I want to show that we can target those as well. I also have, let me see, I have here, well, basically different type of elements. So I'm mostly using classes and data attribute and tags. So, but most part of the time you will see mostly classes. For A/B testing, perhaps you will be using also IDs as well and data attributes, especially when you are dealing with SPA websites or single page applications. So those are quite commonly used in those type of websites as well. We could also have something like an ID, and let's just for the sake of the example, an ID looks like that. And then it could here in this case, let's say menu button. All right, so now we have basically the majority of the selectors that we use to target element. Of course, there is even some more ways of dealing with some more complex elements as well, but let's keep it simple for now. Well, all right. So I haven't actually really created a structure for the nav bar. So let's work on that. So for the nav bar, well, and now it's looking ugly. Everything on top of each other. Most part of the time, if I look, for example, for my website, again, marketingforpeers.com, you will see, well, this is a mobile version of it, but you will see that if I decrease here the size, we should have like the logo, and we have here, of course, the buttons or the links, and then here I have a language switch, but we will have a button instead. So let's try to make it look like somewhat like that. All right, so if I go back here, well, you already somewhat spoiled it, but that's how it's gonna look like in the end. So if I go here, so let's say I am a big fan of using Flexbox. Basically, we have two practices in CSS, which is called the Flexbox and Grid. The difference between the two is grid is a very nice way of creating blocks and applying with very little effort, like the same sizing to the blocks, and therefore also makes it quite easier to style it for both desktop and mobile. And we have Flexbox, with oftentimes I use it quite frequently, like when I want to align elements in a specific way. So I think for this case, I want to use some Flexbox. So for that, I will use, in order to apply Flexbox, I needed to use display. You will see that the display, we have different ways that we can do them all. Now I'm already even jumping an important part, because I want to apply it for my nav bar, because my nav bar encapsulates this entire element, and I want to make you then look to stay right beside each other. There are many ways that I could do that, but I will do in the specific way that I prefer it myself. So it's that element, and it's a class. A class we can start with a dot before the class, and that represents a class now. And then we will have these curly braces like afterwards, and everything we write here inside here will be the styling. One of the reasons that I'm also using here today my visual editor instead of the code pen, it's because with the visual editor I also have some shortcuts as well. Oftentimes I will always build my tests on a visual editor, and then I will transfer it to the A/B testing tool that I work with. But for you will see that does facilitates quite a bit in comparison to the code pen, which is not auto fulfilling or auto completing my classes there, not everything at least, or giving me suggestions. And then over here we have I already used my element, which is my nav, and then I want to make it a display, as I said earlier. And then after writing display, I do double quotes and semicolon. After using here within, you will see that I can do that, and then I will get already some options before finishing it. And you will see that I have block, I have content, flex box, I have different options here. And what I also sometimes like to do as well is I like to just inspect that page. Again, to inspect, you can just right click and then inspect. I use the shortcut, and that's why you're seeing it like that. And then if I go here, I can select the entire element, and over here you will see that I can apply some specific style. So what I like about that is that when I do it here through the browser, I will already see what kind of behavior it will get. So now it will literally just focus on the element because I selected it, as you can see, and you will see that as I start typing, it will start adding there later as well after I finish one of those. So I have the display, and then for the display, you will if I write it correctly, I have different options, which is block, I have contents, I have flags, which is already looking good as well, I have inline block, I have you will see that I have different options. As I said, I also have the option of hiding it as well, which I can do in multiple ways. I can either do a display none, or I can also do a visibility hidden for that case as well. The difference is that if I were to do a visibility hidden, well, let's show you the difference. So I have here display none, so the element is gone, right? So here you'll see that there's a checkbox that I can uncheck, and then basically my element will be back. And if I do visibility, and then I do hidden, you will see that what happened is my element is not being visible anymore. However, the space that the element takes is still present there. So the difference between the two is the visibility hidden will only hide the element. However, the display none will literally take the element out of the context there as well. So even the space will be gone as well, as you can see here now. So that's a good tip. I often build it here, but sometimes, pretty much all the time, I build a lot of stuff from out of my head because of the knowledge I know. But sometimes when I want to visualize a little bit better what I'm doing, I basically like to do it here as well, because then I can see some different behaviors that I can get with some specific stylings that I can add to an element. Alright, So let's, I will close it here. Well, I don't need much space here now anyways. So I just know that I want to have a display flags, and you will see that after I do that, I save, and well, basically it's displaying like side by side. Display flags. Well, one of the things with Flexbox is that when I do display flags, it has like two behaviors. Either it will display in a column, or it will display it, well, either horizontally or vertically. And right now it's displaying like that. I think in a horizontal, if I'm not wrong. So you will see that I can see that by flex direction. Flex direction. Oh, no. Okay, I see what's happening. I missed, got the wrong one there. Flex direction, and then I have here that option, and then you will see that if I do a column, it will stay pretty much the way it is right now. And then if I do flex row, is already the automatic as well. So right now we can't see much difference there, but you will see as we will do it now. So, well, right now it doesn't even matter that much. Now, but what I want to do here as well is justify content. Oh, again, I forgot to close it here. I always have to close it. We have to open with the column, and the same column we have to close it. And if we don't, we will basically break the styling that comes after that. So always pay attention to close it as well. And then we have that, and then here I just want to, okay, so let me see what is, okay, that element is taking that space. Okay. Okay. Display flags. Yeah, for some reason my styling is being overridden here. Okay, display flags, yeah. Okay, I can also, in A/B testing, you will see that we will use that quite often. Now you see that it is applying as well. Let me just refresh here, then the other styling is gone. So something was probably locking my stylings there. So I just did that, but that shouldn't be needed, to be fair. So that should be enough. Something was just locking, was just a reload needed there. Therefore, well, you will see here again, we have the row, which is already, you see that won't change if I comment that out. And we could also do it as a column as well. And a column, it will stay in one line, basically vertically. Well, in this case we don't need, and then I want to do a justify content, and I want to get here, I have the space between. I want to use that, and let me also add, you will see that, well, I sometimes when I'm dealing with element and I want to see the space it's taking, I like to put a border around it, and a border needs like three different elements in it. We need a width, which is the thickness of the border. We need the type of border. In this case, most part of the time will be solid, but could be dashed, and there are different ones as well, but most part of the time will be solid. And we need a color. I like to use one that stands out in this case. So you will see that now, well, basically my style applied. So I think there is something going on with my with an extension that I have that renders it. But well, let's continue. Okay, I will remove that because we don't need. So you see that now it did do that, so that's great. So right now, well, let's go back there. We have the logo, which doesn't matter for now. I also like to align things like also you will see, well, there is one exception for not adding the same column, and that is for the last styling element that you apply there. You will see that here is still like with the normal color, so that it's working. If I add even better, because I won't forget it for later, but you will see that align items center. then you'll see that now I have everything in the center, my logo, as well as those. Right now it's still not displaying as we want, but we will get there. So within here, well, I have different ways that I can target the next element. Well, I showed you before that I can target like the class, but I can also target the context of it as well. So for example, I have this wrapper, and this refers to the nav. However, I can use as well this as a reference to the element that I want to target now. So what I will do here is I will use the nav, the class, and then within that element I'm searching for a UL. So this way I can do it because it's not, well, that is quite specific. If I wanted to be more specific, I could put a UL, and I know that my URL has this menu item container, and I could just come back here. I can refer ul dot that, or I can even remove the UL, but if I want to be very specific, I can I can narrow it down as much as possible, like by doing that. So this is very specific, and you will see as well later on that the more specific you are, the more power that change will have over an element as well. In CSS, we also have something that's called a hierarchy as well. CSS will always be written or read by the browser like from top to bottom, and then it will apply the change. So for example, I can here come to that element now. Let's show that. So I can put the background here, and I want to make it red. So now you see that my background is red, not from the button, but only the ULs. The button style will remain the same. But then if I would, for example, come down here and just get this element and add like, okay, background orange. So you see that this one, it didn't work because it was less specific than this one. So that is basically the reason there. However, we could easily override that because there are also priorities within the changes. So earlier I showed the important. So the important is like pretty much the supreme one. Wherever the important is, that's the style that's going to be applied in the end. So you will see that if I change it, if I implement, then I override that red color. But there is another way as well, which is less important than important, but that overrides the specificity of a class in this case. Which would be, let's just for a test here, I just want to add an ID. ID is another selector that we have. So let's say ul container. I will put it here. Something to keep in mind is that IDs should be unique elements, so we can't reuse. Sometimes you will see, for example, here that I reuse like this menu item because I know most likely I will be applying the same styling for those elements because they pretty much do the same thing altogether. However, IDs should be unique. You should never have more than one similar ID in that page, or at least referring to the UL container, for example. You can have multiple IDs, but not similar IDs. That's what I mean. So you will see that if I go over here, I just save, go to my styling, and let's say IDs, we refer to them with a hashtag, and then I will put my ID. Same thing, opening and closing curly braces there. And let's make the background purple. And now you'll see that more than specificity is my ID here. However, you will see that if I come back here, even before that element and I do an important, it will still apply the important, because the important is more important than anything else. Nothing will override the important. So that's why for A/B testing, most part of the time we will want to use that, but keep in mind that it may also create some issues that you don't want to deal with as well later. So it can get quite messy when you use too many importants, unless you really know what you're doing. So keep that in mind. But sometimes it will be necessary, just to let you know. So if we go here, well, let's just continue, and I even can delete those because we don't need that. I just wanted to show that. And here we are doing the UL, so you will see that I don't even need to add like that. Well, I will leave it for now, but we don't need to be that specific because that's, we already know that we refer to the UL within the nav bar in that case. So let's do the same thing to my UL here. I want to do a display flex, and then you will see that they are already displaying beside each other. I want to do there is one more thing. Now you can see that there are these dots there, and that is called list style. And then you can just do none. Most part of the time when you do none, you are removing a specific style from that element. And now I also want to do some justify content space around. Let's see what that will do here. Well, not much, to be fair. It didn't make it much better. So let's just do space between. Okay, I think it has to do with the amount of the space of the element now. So let's make this, well, let me go back because it throws down. So let's do the width of that element as, well, the width is, well, we have the entire width of that page, and we have a width of an element as well. So the page should, this from side to side, it takes 100% of the width of the page. And if we think about like the element, it will be also referred in the same way. What we have to keep in mind is, let's say I put like here to, let's say 3000 pixels, for example. You will see that, oh, that's nice. And right now we can't note it yet because it's basically just taking the amount, but sometimes you will create an overflow there, and that's definitely not what we want to have. Let's say 300%, did that? Okay, now it's even difficult to explain how to create an overflow. Well, I probably can just go to the body here and do width 3000 pixels. Yeah, so you see, oftentimes that will be what we call an overflow, and that's because it's taking the user out of the usual flow of the page, that we don't scroll like horizontally, but we always scroll vertically in that case. So this is what we call an overflow. And sometimes you will also run into those as well. So, all right, right here we just want to make sure that element has enough space. Let's put like 600 pixels, and now you will see that we have like basically our elements with some space in there, and we don't have an overflow, so that's good. It's displaying beside each other. We can even decrease it a little bit, like to 500. All right, so that looks better. All right, so we have the elements already displaying like that. So now let's take a look at what those elements, what each item is taking over space. So I know that they are the LIs. So I have now, I'm going even deeper within that element. I have the nav wrapper, I have the UL, I have the LI. So let's take a look what we will get. Again, I will add a border there. So let me just remove that one because we don't need that anymore. So border, and then I want 1 pixel solid red. So okay, well, you see that now the element is taking a very small space. That's also not really advisable, because you can imagine that some users may have a hard time like trying to click these elements. Therefore, what you can do here is you can basically put what we call a padding inside the element, and you will have the difference between padding and margin. Margin would be, well, let me show you what is the difference between the two. So you will have now, well, let's add a padding first, and that's pretty easy to see. Let's say I want to do like 10, well, normally you would do like all around. So you could like do this, and this. So this is top, right, bottom, and left. So it basically goes clockwise. and then you can also change it like later as well. So you see that now it has the same. So but sometimes we can even like just use two, and that would be like top, bottom, left and right. So let's say we want to have 10 pixels like top and bottom, but we want to have like 20 pixels like left and right. So here I think now we are running into some constraints with the space of the element here, and let's just increase, and then we should be fine with that. Yeah, so you, as you can see, was the yeah, pretty much just the space of the element, the size of the elements. All right, well, but of course we don't want to keep it like that. And well, what happens now if we would do the same like with margin? Margin applies the same thing, top, top, right, left, and top, right, bottom, and left would work the same way. So let's see, this element shouldn't have any margin, as you can see. So let's add, for example, a margin. We have multiple ways that we can add it as well. Now, if we only do like that, we are doing generally, but as you can see over here, I have some suggestions for top, for left, for bottom, and the right. So we can add those as well, separately as well. So there is a way, this is a way that we can apply it to the element, basically like just in some specific way, not like in general. So let's say we want to just apply it to the right, for example. So we want to add an 10 pixels here, and you will see that our elements should have moved a little bit there from the right. Let's try to add like 20 and save. All right, I think again we have some spacing constraints there. Yeah, so you see that it now starts moving. And well, here let me just say that I want to have like 100%, so that, yeah, that should solve, but not really ideal. If I take it out, yeah, basically it will just apply and take the spaces that it needs based on the styling that we are adding. So that's the 20. So if I do like 50, you'll see that it increases, and it will keep doing that. The advantage of having the padding here is that we make this element more easily accessible for users. Of course, if we are talking about the normal structure here, now we only have an li, won't be doing nothing. But if we want to have a link here, let me just get that. I could put an NA in there, and then let's say for the home page, I could add that. So you will see that now it also will have like this different color because it shows that it's a link. So if I click here, it should take me to another page, which there's nothing there. So okay, so that is good. So you see that there is some stylings to that link that we don't want. So let's change that. So over here, well, we have our borders there, we don't need that. One more thing that we can add here as well is now we don't have, well, because it's a link now we see, but only when we hover over here, you know, and we basically want to do that over the entire element. So we don't even want to apply it to the li in this case, but to the link. So what we can do here, we can even bring the link in here, and now the styling should be applied to the li in that case. Well, but the problem with that is that the other ones were not links. And then you will see that when it's a link, it changed like into this little hand that shows that it can do something there. So let's just quickly change it all here for a link. It won't be taking nowhere basically, but let's just do that, because then we have the same styling there, and again we have it over here, and then that's all right. So now we have all links and the same styling applying to all of them. Perfect. So let's move now to our styling here. I'm looking like it's looking like quite tight there, the space. As you can see here, the button is really hitting already the side of the screen as well as the logo. So well, let's use that padding here in the nav bar in the main container just to apply, let's say, you can apply pixels, and sometimes you can also apply percentage. So let's say that we want to take like, let's say 5%. That's something that, well, as you can see, it's pretty big, also because we are applying in always. So let's say top and bottom, I just want to apply nothing. So now we have only applying on the left and right, and perhaps to the top I want to have like 10 pixels just to give some spacing as well. That looks a little bit better there. All right, perfect. All right, let's continue. Well, let's remove this border here now because we don't need that. And well, as we are applying now the styling to the link, well, as you can see, the links often will have like these small lines below, and that's what we call a text decoration. And then the text decoration, we have some different ones, like let's say we want to have it dotted, so you will have it a different way now as well. I actually never used that option, but most part of the time I use just none to remove it. So now we don't have nothing basically. So yeah, that already looks a bit better. And let's make the color refers to the color of the text. So let's just make it orange. Okay, I can use color like that, or I could use like some hex colors as well. I don't remember what would be the orange color, the hex color for orange, but if I'm gonna do black, I could, for example, use just 3 dots or 6 dots in this case. So you will see that now it's black, but I want to use like orange because it will combine with the rest of the style that I have later. All right, so let's look into the button here now. What we can also do is, okay, I have an idea. So let's use now black instead. So okay, so it's black, but we want to do something. So now we will see that if we go over it, nothing happens, it stays the same thing. But let's add some styling on the hover there. We can just do that with CSS only as well, and we just need to add the 2 dots, and then the hover, and then again like that. And on the hover, I want to change the color to orange then, to orange. And you will see that if now I hover over the elements, I have to click the page first, and then you will see that it will move. Now it's moving very quick. So if I want to make it like, well, I can't hold back and not do it. I could add a transition, and then I just want to do the color, and then I want to do it in 4 seconds, and easy, just a very simple one. And you will see that if I apply that, it will move a little bit more smooth as well, you know, instead of like switching very quickly. And of course you can even increase that as well. You will see that will go even slower if I do like that. So you see that it goes like really slow, but yeah, I think 4 was fine. All right, so that is already like us having our first transitions. That's something that I love because yeah, it basically helps like yeah, not very just changing the color, but smoothly switching the color to the other one on the hover. So that's nice. All right, and if we want to smooth the way back as well, we can also just go here and add it here as well, and then it smooths a bit as well. All right, you will see, and then it smooths. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's style our button now. So our button, well, we basically know that the button is also inside the UL, so I could just use it like that. There is multiple ways that you can do this these days. Oh, you see that my button, I have an ID there. So let's use the ID then. So for that, I won't even use that reference. I will use the hashtag again for referring to the button. And then I will do the styling. You will see that the button already has its normal style already, the standard. So let's override that. So let's do the border. Well, I will do the hex color black. The hex color black. Okay, but again, I'm missing something, which is 1 pixel and solid. So it's black there, the border, and then I want to do some padding to it. I think I just want to do 10 and 20 pixels. Now let's add something that we haven't seen before. We can do a border radius, and basically what the border radius is, as you will see, it will just smooth the corners of the border, make it a little bit more round. So let's do 5 pixels, and you will see, like, instead of being very squarish, now it's a little bit rounded in the border, the corners of the border. So that's nice. And let's change the background as well. Here you'll see that I'm using the background like that, but it's just an abbreviation which I can apply in different type of backgrounds. So let's just do like background color for the sake of the example, and then I want to do also black. The background color is black. Now you see that I won't have a text anymore, and I can make my text triple F is a white color. So you will see that. And then what I could do here is, again, on the hover, let's say, well, I actually could do the same thing. I could do just like the F, the color that. Let me think. Let's do the color orange for the button and the text black. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's really nice. So let's make the whole thing like that. And then I think the white does look better there. Alright, so that does look a little bit better. And then again, we will go here, and I want to have another hover effect. And then on the hover, I want to make the color white, which is the text. I want to make the background color. The background color is black. So as you will see, as I move over, it will change. Now you see that I don't see the little hand like I see with the links here. We can also add that, which is the cursor pointer. You will see already that I have that. So the cursor pointer, I already get like that little hand now. So if I click, yeah, you see that I have the little hand there. So what we can also do is we can also add that over here. Instead of color is background color, and then I want to do the same here, transition it on the hover in and out. Yeah, so that's nice. And then I just want to make also the border 1 pixels solid black. Alright, because it was orange before. So you will see that if I hover, yeah, so basically we have our styling, and of course here now it's moving because we are adding some styling there as well. So we added to the bottom now as well. So let's just do it differently there. So instead of moving it like that, well, let's inspect. See that the element is taking that space. So that's the size of the element. And that's because of my paddings. Alright, so let's say we have that. Okay, well, I think we won't really, I think it's being affected by that. No, okay, it's not that. Let's see, where is it then? Oh, it's not my margin right. Could it be the button? No, I don't think so. Well, I think that's fine. Margin right, no. Okay. Well, you see that I can select multiple lines, and with my shortcut, which on a MacBook is a command slash, I can comment the whole thing out. So you see that it's already there like that. I can uncomment as well. Okay, we have that. and here is the container space between. I think I can apply here this, no, is item, align items, center. Yes, all right, so I have fixed that now. So you'll see that everything is nicely aligned there. And then if I move here, I just want to, lastly, I just want to, well, let's, instead of that, let's make an ID as well, because we only have one logo, of course. So, of course, we could have another one on the footer, but, well, for the sake of the example, let's just have one for now. I will refer to it again like that. And I just want to increase a little bit the size of it, which I can do like, right now we just have a text, so we can do a font, well, not font type, but it's a font size. And let's just make it 20 pixels. So now you see that's a bit bigger. And if you want to make it a bit thicker as well, we have font weight. And then we can do 900, for example. And now you see that is also thicker as well. So basically we have here our menu bar. So that is, yeah, so it's pretty much an art that you will learn and master it with the time. I think oftentimes like those two well, very important ways of coding your web pages is like very neglected. Everybody think like, okay, HTML is very simple, and it is, in fact. However, you will still see a lot of big websites like building horrible structures of HTML. So yeah, mastering the basics definitely can save you a lot of time. Of course, you will have to deal with pages that have been built by someone if you're building A/B tests, and you will remember my words basically. But all right, well, let's continue. All right, so if we want to continue there, I will basically just go on commenting here, and then we will see like what each of those changes are doing. So first of all, I am styling the container. As you will see here, I'm using even a different approach than the Flexbox. I'm using now grid, which I thought was the best approach for that, as I want to make an equal division into two parts there. And let's I will comment and explain each part of it. So now you will see that I splitted the whole thing into two. So you will see that I'm here applying like this display grid, and then I have this grid template columns, and then I'm dividing into two bits. This side has 60% of the entire width of the page, and that other one has 40%. And then I am applying the width here, and then here I'm doing a calculation because the thing is I am applying here some padding, and if I don't do that calculation, you will see that then I will get like what we I think here you may not be able to see, but I saw when I was building that it was creating me an overflow there. So that's why I have created that to prevent that, just to make sure that I'm only taking 100% and not 110, because here you will see that I have 0 top and bottom, but 5% on left, right and left. So in this case I'm saying, okay, no, it's 100, but take like 10% out because it's from the padding over here. And then I am setting here a height because I want to make this element sticky there. And that you can see it over here. As you can see here as well, we have like, well, the image, basically I'm setting the width like to 100%, and 100% will be 100% of the 60% over here. So you will see that if I add a border here, I use that all the time because I like to see the elements that I'm dealing with and what spacing they are taking. So you will see that, okay, that is like the 100% of the 60%. So yeah, that is, yeah, it's always good when you are doubting like if the element is really doing what it's supposed to be doing. Always feel free to change the background or change the borders, because that will give you a clear view on what is going wrong there. All right, let me just remove that. And then here we have the PDP product container, which it's over here, product container, which I'm just applying some styling to it as well. To that I am doing a height of 600 pixels. I am doing the padding here, as you can see, like 0 top and bottom, but I'm doing 30 pixels like left and right, because I just wanted to add a little bit of space between the image and there, just to for the way it looks. And you will see that, yeah, that's nice. If I would do that, it would be like stuck there already, so that's not really nice. And then I'm making it sticky, and you will see that right now you don't see that yet because I don't have that other element, but I think I could okay, yeah, the black space, I can uncomment that. Oh well, that's not gonna work for now, but let's wait. Later on you will see when I'm done with the whole thing. Okay, so here I want to style the title. The title, again, I'm referring to the class, and which is the main class from the whole container. I'm the only way h1, because if you will follow my other video on the structure of HTML, you will know that you can only have one h1 per page. Therefore, there is no really risk in this approach if the code have been built right, of course. And then I'm changing the size of the title over here to 40 pixels and no margin top, just to make sure that this space is not taken, because actually the margin here is standard value that comes with the h1 in this case. So you will see that if I uncomment, now it went to the top, and then we don't have the space in there anymore. So that's nice. Next, I am styling here the price, and you will see here that I'm changing the font here. Nothing that we haven't seen so far. Perhaps one thing that we haven't seen so far is this gap, and the gap here is basically just the space. You will see that the price, I have two elements. One is the dollar or the euro sign, and the other one is the price itself, the 49.99. So I just want to give some space in between the two, and I'm using a gap because I have it a flex box here element. So you will see that if I save, well, right now I didn't change the dollar sign, the euro sign, but I did make the price here bigger, and you will see that I could increase that size as well, the space there, as you saw, like just by increasing here. So the gap can be applied in different ways. It can be a column gap, and it can be a row gap. So in this case, well, as we only have one row, so it will apply like that. But this way actually would apply to both, like column and row. So keep that in mind. All right, and then of course we have here the font type, which is a third. So you'll see that here we have like, well, the price I am changing to 30 pixels, and the euro sign I'm changing like is just like 20, as I should also add the pixels here to apply correctly. And pretty simple so far. Let's move into the rating. For the rating, I am basically perhaps something that I haven't mentioned before, but differently than with HTML, the way of commenting is just with a slash multiplication sign, and then the text that you want to do, as well as the multiplication sign and slash at the end. So you basically will comment out like a text or anything. You will see that I always use the shortcut, like which I just have like command slash, and it will already add that automatically. As you probably can tell by now, I am a big fan of Flexbox, so you will see that oftentimes I will use it quite a lot. Sometimes perhaps even a bit more than necessary, but I like to align and I know exactly how it works, so that's really nice, and that's why I use it quite often in the way I build pretty much. Then we have here, well, I'm just making the element flex as well, because I want to align the two elements in the same line here, the image, which is an SVG, and the text that I have over here. And I'm doing a gap as well, just separating it a little bit, and I'm adding some margin bottom there because I want to also add some separation, some spacing between the rating and the color here. So you will see that after I apply, well, it will look like that. I also changed a little bit the font weight as well, making the text here looks a bit like thinner, and also giving a little bit less contrast to it, but still giving a nice look and feel to it. So, well, now let's style the color switch. So the color switch, is still not much, as I already mentioned before. The color itself is coming from the HTML that I applied inline style, as you can see it over here. So the colors are already being applied over here with inline style, and here I'm just literally styling the elements. First of all, I'm removing like the dots again from the UL. Good to mention that this needs to be applied to the UL and not to the LIs. That is a feature that comes in the UL, which is applied to the LIs, but you have to remove it from the UL. And then I'm making flex, which already will make them look beside each other. The gap, I'm giving a gap, and this gap will apply between for every column. In this case, we'll create like the total amount of colors of columns of colors here, so like 5 colors. And I'm doing some padding left as well, just to bring it a little bit more to the or removing in this case, because originally the ULs has a 40 pixels like padding in the on the left side. So you will see that if I remove it here and save, you will see that you have like some blank space here, and that's just that. And I override that by removing it, just setting it to 0. And then I have the LIs there. I'm setting the width and the height to 40 pixels, and I'm doing the border radius of 50, which is how I make this round way that you see over there. And now you also see that I'm using also a hover effect on the LIs, which I, instead of 100 or the width of 40 pixels width and height, I'm transforming to 50 pixels, and that's why you see like this increase of them. And I use the transition as well to smooth it a little bit up as well. And the spam, of course, I'm giving a padding top of 10, which is like here to the color in that case. Let's move to our size selector. For our size selector, well, I spoiled that already, so you'll see that I am basically making it bigger. I could make it smaller for sure, that's no problem. Again, removing the dots and displaying flex to make them look beside each other, putting some space between them, and removing again the padding at the left from the UL. And then again, I'm making the width 40 pixels, and I'm also making the border like at 50%, the border solid with a DE, which is a gray, light gray color, which is a nice one, using the hex colors. And I'm also adding the transition there, and I'm making it flex as well. And the reason why I make flex is just to align the letters or the sizes inside the circle, so I'm using that for that. And I use here justify content center, align item center, just to align it vertically and horizontally. And then I have some padding here of 10 pixels. Here I am making also like the color or the weight of the text, like also very light as well, with 100 here, and I make it important because there was something overriding it before. And I make the color of it black, and the background I just make it white. You will see that on the hover I will change it a little bit. The color will be white and the background will be black, and I change the font weight to 500 as well, just to give it a nice contrast to it as well, with transitions to both. And you will see if I click here, it becomes like that, which is really nice. Perhaps I could make it a bit smaller that would be perhaps better. And the reason why it's pretty big is not even the size, because you see the size is good, but I think it's this padding. So I could decrease the padding to 5, for example, and that already looks better. We didn't need that padding over here because we didn't have content in there. Yeah, so I think I can even put, wait, I think I can even just set it like to 0. But yeah, you see that some of them will look like quite tight in there, so let's just put like a 5. That already looks better. All right, so let's continue. If we go to the button, you will see that I have done some nice styling to the button. And over here we have, of course, the width of it. I just want to make sure that it takes 100%. Again, it will take 100% of the 40%. That is this grid on the right side. I'm making the background color orange, the border orange with 1 pixel like line, the border radius slightly curved there, so just adding some curve to the edges. And then I'm also doing like a padding like of 10 pixels top, 20 pixels left and right. The font size is like 16 pixels. The color, the text transformation is using an uppercase here. You will see that I have multiple options. Let me just delete, and you will see that I have multiple options, and I use uppercase just to make it look all like with capital letters. And of course we have here some transition that you will see that will give a slightly darker shade to it when I hover over the element. Okay, we are coming almost to the end. Now I have the USPs. They already look quite okay, but again, just did some styling there as well. For that, I have, let me remove that as well. So you will see that I have here now the, yeah, I'm just doing it flex to make it, so that I can align them. Right now you'll see that I also use like a flex start to bring them back a little bit to the side as well. I'm using these as well. I am also doing a line and then center, just to align the icon and the text in horizontally, and then a margin button just to create some space in between them. I could have done that with a gap row as well. You will see that we'll have is a row gap, and I could do it like that, and you will see that it will have the same impact. So it's pretty much the same. Well, actually not. Actually, the margin button is doing a better work here. So yeah, you'll see that, yeah, that's pretty good. And then of course I'm adding to the SVG, I'm adding also some spacing, some margin right as well there. So that's why we have some space in between the two instead of the gap. That's also an option. And of course I just have here some blanks, some black space, and actually it's not even black space but blank space, and that's the space below here. And you will see that as I scroll down, the right side will remain there on screen until a certain point, and then it continues going up. And that moment that it stops is just because you will see that, let me see the main PDP main container. Let me see here. I just want to show that we have the image and the product PDP product container. Okay, so let's put like PDP product container. Let me just find that. Okay, PDP product container. You see the height of 600 pixels. Let's add a border here. That will make more sense with a border. And then you will see that 1 pixel solid red. Yes, so you see it will basically continue like that. It's just going, you have a little bit of an overflow there, but here it doesn't matter. and you will see that it stops there. So it's actually taking into consideration that is how long the element, that's the size of that element, and that element is inside another one, which I think, yeah, okay, you'll see over here, and that's based on that element. So let's add a border, 1 pixel solid purple. All right, so you see the moment that it reaches that part, and then it stops, and that is because I'm using it with a sticky here, and you will see that if I added that, if I stop that and save, that would just continue there, it wouldn't move. So that was just some animation, or not really an animation, but it was just something that I added on purpose, just in order to make the elements stick there. Let me remove that. So yeah, basically we did apply already like quite some styling. However, you will see that well, when you are building your stylings, you won't only be building like for desktop but also mobile. So if you will see that if I would inspect here and look on mobile, it doesn't look good at all, and for that reason I just simply added like a media query, and a media query is nothing more or less than a specification of the size of the device, which we can override some of the styling to, so that it will fit accordingly. So you saw that for the desktop we made it and we divided between in 2 columns, one with 60% and one with 40%. Right now I'm overriding that to 100%, so I just wanted to take the full screen, and then we'll make it in a column. And then here I'm just removing also the PDP product container padding, so that it will take a little bit more space there as well. And you will see that if I do that, well, right now as we haven't created the version for the mobile, our basically our navbar is breaking our content, but you will see that if I do here display none, that's how it looks like without the navbar. So actually looks reasonably good. And I think here, we could do here as well, and I think that is what is missing there, is to remove that padding left. And then you'll see that it should looks good here now. So yeah, that is basically what our elements. Of course, keep in mind that as we are seeing on possibly on a mobile, you won't see the hover on those elements, because mobile don't have a hover. You can't hover over an element, you either click or not, basically. But yeah, that is basically I would say we have seen like quite a little bit here today on that. And then of course I think one last thing that I would like to mention here is I have also added that element here. Well, we don't need that for nothing, but the way we would often target like a data attribute is basically, if I go back here, let's go to the bottom and just do something weird with it just to show how we do it. Well, the classes we target with a dot, right? Let me ID we target with a hash, and data attribute we target with square brackets. So you will see that if we do how to target different selectors, so like that. And then what we want to do here, we want to do that, and you want to add that, as you will see. And then let's just make the background or not orange, but let's make it hideously yellow. And then you will see that if we go to the top, then we are making the background yellow. So it works in the same way. Now we still have an overflow. So basically that's what the overflow that I wanted to show. This unintended scroll horizontally that yeah, is unintended. We should always only do it over here like that. And if we want to break this content, which would be not in the perfect way, could be like by doing an overflow hidden. So now we don't have it anymore, but of course it's cutting our element there. So we just have to work this element out in a way that it will display properly for a mobile device, take into consideration the size of that screen, which in this case would be like 390 pixels. So yeah, that is basically it. Thank you for watching, and I would say if you like the video, feel free to subscribe, to share, and hopefully I will see you next time. Thank you.